How low can it go? Another brutal day for markets around the globe, all thanks to Donald Trump's worldwide trade war. But will the president consider pumping the brakes on his massive tax hike as his biggest Wall Street backers warn of a recession and economic meltdown? Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graphs Grievances starts right now. When President Donald Trump left office in January 2021, many of Wall Street's biggest names swore they were done with him for good. Despite once being enamored with Trump's massive tax cuts for the wealthy and his effort to eliminate as much regulation as possible, these financial giants publicly stated they could never support Trump again, after he refused to concede to Joe Biden and inspired a mob of his supporters to attack the U.S. Capitol in retaliation for his election loss. But to my surprise, and I was actually surprised, their disgust with Trump didn't last long. Just 2 years later, many of the same bankers, asset managers, hedge fund titans, lawyers, venture capitalists, and Silicon Valley entrepreneurs who once denounced Trump were quietly moving back into his corner. After Trump secured the 2024 Republican presidential nomination and Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee last summer, major business figures who identify as Democrats were firmly on Team Trump. In July, billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman formally threw his support behind Trump, writing on X, quote, "I assure you that I have made this decision carefully, rationally, and by relying on as much empirical data as possible." Ackerman's endorsement was a dramatic reversal. Just 3 years earlier, he had posted on social media right after the Capitol attack that Trump should, quote, resign and apologize to all Americans. So Ackman went from calling for Trump's resignation, a move only Richard Nixon has ever made, to giving him a full endorsement in less than 3 years. The Wall Street Titan's endorsement also extending to social media, where he used his nearly 2 million followers to repeatedly attack President Biden and Vice President Harris. On top of that, Ackman dipped into his $7.7 billion net worth to fund Trump's 2024 campaign to the tune of over $500,000. But Ackman wasn't the only one to make a dramatic turn. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, who had harshly criticized Trump after the Capitol attack, also warmed to the former president. Dimon, the leader of America's largest bank, paused all of Chase's political donations after January 6th. But in the months leading up to the 2024 election, Dimon, who identifies as a Democrat, surprised political and financial elites by praising some of Trump's policies. In January 2024, Dimon told CNBC at the World Economic Forum in Davos that Trump had been, quote, kind of right about issues like China and tax cuts. The bank's Political Action Committee also resumed giving, channeling more money to Republicans than Democrats. The same CEO who just 3 years earlier condemned Trump for, quote, gassing up a mob, now found him tacitly vouching for Trump and his policies. 2 days into Trump's second term, Dimon even called Trump's not yet announced tariffs a valuable, quote, economic weapon, telling CNBC, quote, if it's a little inflationary, but it's good for national security, get over it. And it wasn't just Ackman and Dimon. Hedge fund magnate Ken Griffin, venture capitalist Mark Andreessen, billionaire entrepreneur Peter Thiel, and of course Elon Musk all made similar conversions. But now, as markets crash for the third day in response to Trump's trade war, these fair weather friends are turning on Trump. Ackman saying last night that America is heading toward a self-inflicted, quote, economic nuclear winter because of Trump's trade policies. Ackman also warned on X, quote, by placing massive and disproportionate tariffs on our friends and our enemies alike and launching a global economic war against the whole world at once, we are destroying confidence in our country as a trading partner. In a similar vein, Dimon warned in his annual letter today that tariffs will fuel inflation and slow growth in an already weakening U.S. economy. Quote, the quicker this issue is resolved, the better, because some of the negative effects increase cumulatively over time and would be hard to reverse, Dimon wrote, though he didn't directly criticize Trump. And as Tesla stock continues to plummet, wiping out billions of dollars in value, Musk voiced support for a, quote, zero tariff situation between the US and Europe. Have you told that to the big boss, Elon? While I suppose it's good that these billionaires are finally criticizing Trump now that their net worths are in freefall, the truth is Trump has been advocating for massive new tariffs for almost 40 years.
You took out a full-page ad in major U.S. newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
That was Trump on Oprah in 1988. Saying that if he were president, he would, quote, make our allies pay their fair share. Tariffs have always been Trump's issue, the only issue he's been consistent on his entire life. So why didn't the likes of Bill Ackman, Jamie Dimon, and Elon Musk speak up earlier? Did they think Trump was just playing around? Did they think they could talk Trump out of it? Or were they willing to risk the possibility of new tariffs because they feared Joe Biden and Kamala Harris might raise taxes on multimillionaires and billionaires? We'll likely never know. But in the coming days, or possibly weeks, it will be interesting to see whether Trump listens to his biggest backers and tries to strike a deal with America's largest trading partners to pause his tariffs. Such a move would allow Trump to claim victory as markets inevitably rebound in relief. And that's the point here. Trump inherited a booming economy from the Biden-Harris administration. Under President Biden, America's economy was the envy of the world, with record low unemployment and historic job growth. But instead of acknowledging that, many on Wall Street got greedy and chose to attack Biden and Harris in favor of an aspiring dictator who has been promising massive new tariffs since 1988. Trump's trade war has turned from a political talking point to a self-inflicted wound on both the American economy and the global market. Wall Street's most powerful figures, who once distanced themselves from Trump, are now grappling with the very consequences of his actions. While they've begun to speak out, the damage is already done. Will Trump heed their advice and ease the tariffs to starve off a deeper economic crisis, or will his ever-persistent policies continue to push the U.S. towards an economic abyss? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share, and join me tomorrow for more.